So, ein herzliches Hallo zur Session, Moment, jetzt sehe ich mich selber, Rückkehr von Tanzveranstaltungen, Pilot- und Modellprojekte. And we immediately switch to English because we welcome Peter Lubertz from Backbone International. I hope he's here. Peter, can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning, Peter. Nice to see you. I hope all is well. The last time when we talked, it was like 3 months ago, I think. And you were right in the middle of quite some cool pilot projects. Eurovision Song Contest was approaching, and you had a soccer game that went past in 5K people in Amsterdam dance event, right? So yeah. So we welcome the people at home here on their screens as well. This is a hybrid conference, so a lot of people watch online too. And yeah, Peter, the audience is yours, and we're very interested what happened with the project, how the collaboration worked. What's the state of the art right now? And let's see, I hope all is well.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Lubertz. I'm, as mentioned before, I'm CEO of Backbone International, a Dutch production company. But in the last year, I worked on a program called Fieldlab Events. And that program was a collaboration between the Dutch government, the whole event sector in the Netherlands, also public events, but also corporate events, sports, etc. And the goal was, how can we have events in a time frame as the pandemic we're in right now with the COVID situation. We worked for that on, let's say, what I said, a year already. It was quite a ride, a bumpy ride, a roller coaster, and we had a lot of success until 10 days ago. Some figures, we had 29 events in 3 months, test events. And with the test events, we gained a lot of data regarding visitors dynamics, how many contacts people had, etc. So we gained a lot of data. Like I said, 29 events in total, sports events, Eurovision Song Contest, dance events, festivals, a club night as well. We had 129 visitors during those sessions. And afterwards, we had 104 possible positives and infections after those events. So we were very happy with that result, because there was with all the data we gained, we advised our government how to realize events in the Corona time frame. And what was very positive about this, that on the end of May, they allowed, based on the Fieldlab program, they allowed 100% capacity events for all kind of types of the events. I will explain later a little bit on. So there was quite a positive situation for us in the Netherlands until 10 days ago. The Delta mutant of the virus hit the Netherlands very hard, and in a panic situation, they decided to cut off all bars, clubs, club nights, festivals, all kind of events. Yesterday, we had a session with the government because they said until the 13th of August, you cannot have any events at all. And after the 13th, you might go back to the 100% capacity events again. Well, I think that's quite a big step from 0 to full force. So we had some sessions in the last in the last week and yesterday as well. I will give you a presentation I showed to the government yesterday. I'm going to try to share my screen. I hope it works. Okay. I hope you can see my, do you see my PowerPoint?
Not yet, but maybe the technique is working on it.
There's something wrong with my Zoom. I will send it. Is it possible that I can send it to Elisa, that she can put it on screen? Is that a possibility? Because I have some troubles with the Zoom situation right now. we're working on now everything is dropping out of my system right now. I'm trying to share my screen, but it's not working for now.
Okay, can you send it via email or?
Yeah, I will try. Okay. I did send it to Elisa.
Okay, she's on already.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Let's
I will
see.
start in the meanwhile. So I will see if it's getting on. So what we did is it's a Dutch presentation, but I will translate the most important parts of it because it's a presentation we did for the Dutch government. The fact is that we started the Fieldlab program. I said, how can we have an alternative for the 1.5 meter social distancing measures here in the Netherlands? How can we have safe events, still with more capacity than we had up front with the 1.5 meter? And we based it on the customer journey. And we divided the customer journey into a couple of phases. And the most important phase, as we said, it is the controlled situation. And the controlled situation when people enter the gate and when they leave the gate. And within those controlled situation, we have control over, let's say, ventilation, but also how people come in, how people are seated or non-seated, etc., etc. So that was a very important part of the program. I see yes, this is the right slide. Thank you. And based on that customer journey, we said, how can we have how can we compare the risk on an event with, as we said, the home situation. So when you stay home, you do your shoppings, maybe you go to do some sports, you go to your job, etc., etc. How can we compare an event risk with the home situation? But we also said, let's also compare it. In the Netherlands, the government said you can have in the highest level of the pandemic, you can have 2 visitors at your home. So when they allowed some people, some guests at your home, why don't you allow to go to an event as well? Next slide, please. So we did based it on the customer journey, but we also said you cannot say that all events are the same. So let's divide all the events in 4 types of events. We call it indoor passive, that's like a theater. The outdoor passive, let's say a soccer game in a stadium or outdoor concert. We had the outdoor. We had also the indoor active. That's like an indoor concert or a dance event indoor. And we had number 4 is the outdoor active, but the festival setting. We based on those types, and for all those types, we created a set of measures. Next slide, please. I do miss the previous slide. That's the risk model. Yes, this one. Thank you. Okay, this is a Dutch risk model. We created that with the 4 universities here in the Netherlands, and we said, if you have all kind of data, you put it in a risk model. What is the risk of the lowest risk you can have if you take some measures? So for that one, we need some data. First of all, you need to know what the infection rate is at that moment. We said pre-testing is the most important part. How can we gain with pre-testing, reduce the infection risk? The vaccination program was part of the risk model. How is your event created? So do you have, like as we said, bubbles? How can you create your entrances, etc.? But also, how is your ventilation is working on the specific event for an indoor event? But also, that's the red arrow. Is that how many contacts do you have within the 1.5 meter and outside the 1.5 meter? compared with the, let's say, the big drops, but also with the aerosols. That was also part of the whole risk model. So all those data we gained during the 29 events and with 129,000 visitors, we put it in a risk model and said, okay, what's the infection rate on an event if you compared it with others, but also said how many people, what we call it, hospitalization, come into the hospital. So we have all kind of risk analysis after we did all those events. Next slide, please. So that risk model was very important for everything we did in with all the data. And as I mentioned before, we compared it with the home situation. So when you stay home, do nothing. Well, that's quite safe, as we all know it. But we also compared it with the situation when you have guests at your home. So you see the green horizontal block. That's the risk when you stay home. So the infection risk when you stay home, do your normal life. That's what we said in the green horizontal block. Then you see another block, a small line that's with the 4 figure. And that's the situation when you have visitors at your home. And what we did with the risk model is we put all kind of data in the risk model, and then you see all the colors, and those colors represent, for example, a theater, for example, an indoor concert, for example, a festival. You see the highest top levels. That's an indoor concert and an indoor dance event, but with 100% capacity in the highest risk level we had in that situation. So that's very important to realize. So the blue lines on the right, those are the festivals, the outdoor festivals with a pop festival and a dance festival. Then you see that the risk level is, for some of the events, is even lower. For example, a theater or a corporate convention is almost lower or almost the same as the level you have when you stay at home. And some of them are a little bit higher, but also still more safe when you have visitors at your home. Very important to say is that what you see here is the home situation is without measures, and the situation we have with the events with measures. For example, pre-testing, the right ventilation, etc. Next slide, please. What you saw before was the phase 1, as we call it. So that was between February and March, and we had also a phase 2 with more visitors. So we had 5,000 people at a soccer game. We had almost in total 16,000 people at the Eurovision Song Contest with 3,500 per show. And you also see that the risk level you see is, okay, yes, for an indoor concert, you have to take some more measures, but in the whole range, you see that it's even as safe to go to an event with pre-testing and some measures in the situation when you have visitors at home. In the Netherlands, they say there's no maximum at this moment for guests getting at your home situation. So we say, if that's allowed, why don't you allow the events? Next slide, please. So the whole risk model was based on all kind of data, and we put it in all kind of situation. What you see here is the festival dance situation. You see on the left side, you see some high, small angle dotted lines. It's very hard to see, but on the left side, you see it's high. That is the situation, the infection situation without measures. And the other 2 lines is when you take measures. And on the horizontal line, it's the infection rate in the Netherlands. And you see with the right measures, you can have a festival in a safe way, taking the measures in a high infection rate here in the Netherlands. It's very hard to see. I can understand it goes very fast, but this is how we presented this to the government in the last couple of months. Next slide, please. And then you see that this model really worked for us here in the Netherlands. What you see is also a multiple day festival, because we had the most discussions about 2 weeks. We can have a 1-day festival, but can we also have a multiple day festival with a camping site? So we did some data analysis, and we said, okay, with a pre-test, you can have a festival, and then you see the lines you see here is day 1, 2, 3, and 4. You see that the infection rate is getting higher during the days. So we said 1 test up front, no testing on the festival.